Welcome. Some of you might remember this hawthorn. I did some work on it a few, well, I say episodes ago. It could have been 30 episodes ago, I can't remember. But I'm going to turn this into a bridge style raft next year. So in the meantime, I want to create a bit more bend. So let's crack on. If I stand behind this with my white t-shirt, you'll be able to see this wire better. But this wire is on here and it's just applying some bend to this, and these are the branches that I want to turn into trunks on my new raft style tree. I think for it to work better, I want a bit extra bend on. So my plan really is to just give this a bit of an extra crank. See, when I release it, it kind of goes to that now as the natural position, which is not bad, but I'm thinking it might be a good time to just add some extra like that. Brilliant. Happy with that. When this is planted in the ground next year, well, I say in the ground, in a pot, it'll be going at that sort of angle, with this end sort of submerged into the soil. So these trunks then really could do with pointing upwards like this. Therefore, I may as well now put some wire on them and bring them down into the new position. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm starting off with a piece of, I think it's 2mm wire this, and this will be good for 2 of the branches. So I'll start off by taking the wire around the trunk to create a nice solid start. It's a bit short, that. I've messed my measurements up there a bit. All I'll do is I'll just take a bit more of it up the tree. It's so easy to underestimate how much wire you use going round the trunk of a tree. That's better. Just gives me a bit more wire to play with. Doesn't really matter that everything is super tight, but you just want it solid like that. That's nice now, that. So I can use this wire to just work my way around this branch nice and steadily. The bottom section of this branch has hardened off, so it's gone that kind of brown colour. Higher up it's still red, which means it's a lot softer, so I've got to be a bit more gentle as I go up the branch. Ultimately it'll be pruned back, so what happens at the top doesn't really matter. It's more important that I get some movement into the lower section of these branches, and that's what I'm going to try and do in a minute. So I've not taken the thorns off these branches, and as I just felt then, they are quite sharp, so just an extra reason to be careful. Hawthorn splinters are not the most pleasant. I've had loads in my time, and I'd rather not have another one. Although there is something quite satisfying about getting my glasses on and shining a light on my thumb and digging in with a pin. I don't know. There, excellent. So that's 2 done. I also want to get some onto this 3rd trunk and one of these further behind. I'll start off by applying the wire around this lower one, and I'm just repeating the process that you've just seen. It's a fairly quick process though, so I won't bother speeding this part up. There's some good good thorns there. These are sharp. You might see on my hands a bit of paint. I was just doing a bit of glossing. Just glossed me the inside of my bathroom door. So that's looking very nice. Just continuing to wind around like this. And there we go. Done. I've just tipped the tree across to a decent planting angle so I can wire these, and just realised this is a bit stupid, this. I've already wired these branches at the end of the tree in preparation for turning the end of this into a raft anyway. So I'd forgotten. This has got wire on it to turn these end pieces into a raft. So what I'm now thinking is, I don't know what I was planning on doing with this section. I can't really remember. But what I'm thinking now is, can I use both sections as a raft? Both at the same time? Seeing as I've wired them up, I may as well leave all this as it is. I think it can go in the ground. Yeah, about something like that, with these in the soil, this bridging right out, and perhaps these branches still being included. So I'm going to still wire them and bend, well, they're already wired, I'm still going to bend them, and I'm going to try and have it as almost like a double composition, or my sister calls it like a double ender. So if I've roughly established this as the planting angle, which I think it roughly is, I'll now take these wires. I'm going to bring this one towards me and up, because I want to add some depth to it. So I may as well bring this one, which is nearest to me, this way, and this one, which is nearest to the camera, I may as well bring that towards the camera, with a little bit of twist on it, and this one can sort of come double back on itself. Just being quite careful with these so I don't snap them. I quite like that. And this one, which again is towards me, may as well stay over this side and come up. I think that's really interesting. It's beginning to take shape. I like it. There are a couple of branches that are sort of basically pointing downwards, and there's just no point having these. This will help me to remember what it is I'm actually doing with a bit more clarity. At least now I should look at it and think, yeah, there's a plan. Yeah, I think it's turning into something, this. Well, I've got there in the end with this, after kind of forgetting what I've been doing. It's now turning into quite an interesting project, I think. A kind of real, I can't remember the Japanese name, Ibizuzuki, something, I forget. But it's like a raft style hawthorn with loads of trunks. I mean, ultimately, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Could be a sort of 10 trunk plant in this. And I've got an old pig trough that's round at my dad's that I'm going to plant this in next year. So I think this could be quite an exciting project. It's going to take a few years to develop, but you know, in bonsai, there's no rush. So as always, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.